continue. It's probably about 10 o'clock Christmas night. If you've been following this 24-hour marathon, and we continue with this few minutes platform in the book of Luke. We're in chapter 2, and boy, we're getting very close. The title, Born in Bethlehem. And so we're going to start with verse 4. It says, "And because Joseph was descendant of King David, he had to go to Bethlehem in Judea, David's ancient home." And here we are. "He traveled there from the village of Nazareth in Galilee. He took with him Mary, his fiancée, who is now obviously pregnant. And while they were there, the time came for her baby to be born. She gave birth to her first child, a son. She wrapped him snugly in strips of cloth and laid him in a manger, because there was no lodging available for them." Born in Bethlehem. You know, we mentioned this a little earlier. We were on the way to Bethlehem, but now the very mentioning of the fact and the statement of the fact that he was born in Bethlehem. Not only were they headed there, but he was born in Bethlehem. This has astonished, this has impeccable, imperative meaning in the unfolding of God's revelation to humanity. The importance of the fact that he is born there in Bethlehem. And of course, in Luke's account, he doesn't give much information about Joseph. But you know, when we think of Joseph, when he first learned that she was with child, Joseph loved him some Mary. Well, how do we know that? Because remember, it's recorded in one of the other Gospels. He had determined that he would put her away, but he would not make it a public issue. Why? Why wouldn't he make it a public issue? Because she would be stoned to death. She was, in fact, married to him. When you were engaged, it was the same thing as marriage. It was literally the same thing as marriage, though he clearly had not touched her. And can you imagine when he understands that she is pregnant, what that means to him, the confusion, the hurt, this sense of betrayal, just name it, on and on and on. But when God does something, he does it completely. You know, he does it with fullness. There's no, corners that are left untouched. And so the Holy Spirit also goes to Joseph and lets him, and calms his spirit, lets him know Joseph has to be a person who is a believer as much as Mary is. And so Mary he is now traveling with his wife, who he was, even if he were going to do it, he was not going to expose her publicly. You know, he loves her. He loves her. He did not have a bloody sheet, as it were. And if you don't know what that term means, in the Old Testament, when you married a virgin, you were supposed to maintain the bloody sheet. In fact, if it were not bloody, it was given to the father-in-law. It was given to the father-in-law to demonstrate she indeed was a virgin. Man, if you didn't have the bloody sheet, she could be stoned right there as a person who another man had known and the husband had allowed to marry, and the father had allowed to marry somebody under the impression that she was a virgin. And that warranted the death penalty, by the way. But if the person was wrong by law about the person not being a virgin and actually was a virgin, then he could never divorce her. Never divorce her. Nevertheless, here we've got this fella. I just wanted to point that out because it's not part of Luke's record. And so that Joseph, extremely faithful as well as this woman, as their boy, as he is going to have to raise this child, she's going to have to raise this child that actually is not of Joseph, but Joseph and Mary. Just as every parent is, they are stewards. Even when they are of our personal seed, they are stewards. And he was born in Bethlehem. Record it, put it down, state it, remember it, because there are implications that he wasn't even born in Bethlehem as the story unfolds. Father, we bless you.